Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Tavern. It's open season. We're getting into the majors. We're going to talk about qualifying for some stuff. And is golf changing? Is it changing for the better? Let's talk. Let's get right into it. Welcome to the Tavern. Cheers, everybody.
What's going on?
What are we doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm still getting over last night and watching what was one of the greatest basketball games I've watched in a long time. And I say that in a fair match that was ruined by officiating in the last 2 minutes of the game. And that is my biggest pet peeve in sports.
It's really hard. Like, I don't want to go down the officiating road because we all know, like, golly, like the horse is dead. Stop kicking. Like,
and I'm not gonna complain about that. It was bad. There was bad calls made and everything like that. But I'm a big firm believer of in the last few minutes, unless it's an egregious foul or it's something that you saw and you are 100% sure on, then you know what? Don't call it. Let them play. Let the players win the game. Don't let the officiating change the outcome of the game. Because it was a great game going up to that. And there were bad calls throughout the game. It's just in those last few minutes, let them play. That's my big thing.
I've watched a lot of the NHL playoffs. I'm as you know, Bruins fan.
They had a big win last night.
They did have a big win last night. It was fun to watch. I missed the first period. I was in the middle of doing something and caught it the second period. And I feel like the Stanley Cup playoffs, they do kind of keep the whistle in their pocket a little more during the playoffs than they do during the regular season. And I feel like it makes for better hockey.
It does.
I wanted to get upset. They called too many men on the ice in the Bruins, and I was like, what? Oh no, that's definitely too many men on the ice.
And that's what I'm saying here. That one you have to call. Like there are some calls you have to make and things like that. When you got 10 guys out there,
and the goalie said,
one too many out there.
One too many out there.
You can't have three defenders.
No. So you can. You just got to pull the goalie.
Pull the goalie, exactly.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm talking about. Is you have to have that kind of balance there.
Yeah, and I think that the NHL. And for people that don't watch hockey and don't understand the game, go to a game in person and don't go to a professional game. Go to an ECHL game, go to an AHL game, where you can get closer and you can really watch and just how skilled these guys are. And it is unbelievable to watch. My kids who were obviously born in Florida, we love going to Solar Bears games. And because
Solar Bears games are a ton of fun. We got the Fuel here, and they're in the same they're in the same league. So,
but there's so much going on. There's so much action. They do such a great job at the game. They did an underpants toss one night where they were getting underpants and socks for the homeless community. The game sold. They don't have a problem selling out an ECHL game in Orlando. That tells you everything you need to know about this city. Like, they're fun games to watch, and if you go, you will get hooked. Like, my kids are like, when we go to the next hockey game,
we're getting a brand new hockey arena here for our Indy Fuel. Like, that's the fun part about that. But going back to this about officiating in games, I think it has a bad it leaves a sour taste because I like what they said this morning on Get Up is they robbed the Pacers of a moment. Now, the Pacers might not have won, but they definitely didn't win because of that. The Pacers, they'd made some mistakes at the end, and that's it. If it's on them, it's on them. Like, I watched the Pacers in the round before, and they played a terrible game against the Bucks in a closeout game in Milwaukee, and that was on the Pacers. That was 100% on the Pacers.
Mm-hmm.
But last night, it was on the officiating at that last moment, and it shouldn't be. And that's all I want to say on that. But let's get into first round.
First round, yeah. All right, I want to start
about sports.
I want to start first round because I am going to say this. I finally can get behind something that is talking about doing.
I agree. I can too.
And it's I haven't been able to. Again, I don't think the product is there. I don't think the quality is there. But the idea of these teams, because to me, there's no buy-in on these teams. And why do people like their sports teams? Part of it's regional likability.
Mhm.
So why is all of New England a Red Sox fan? Why is all of Connecticut and New York Yankee or Met fans? Like it's very regionally designed for sports. They have their arenas and they play. And Norman is now talking about the idea of having their own home courses and moving these tournaments around to these courses. And I think that's a genius idea. I really, truly do.
And I agree. I love that idea that, and we talked about this on through text when this was announced that they were talking about this. And I love the idea that a home team can set up a golf course to their liking. Like it can be, you can have a course that sets up to John Rahm. You can have a course that sets up to Phil Mickelson and his team. You can have a course that sets up to I'm just Bubba Watson. Like you can do this where you can set up your home course and make it challenging and give you that home court advantage. And I think that's a great thing in sports because I'll go back to what I talked about in the Knicks Pacers game last night. The energy that was in Madison Square Garden last night was unreal, and it was awesome. Being on the opposing side, I still appreciate that. I love when people get into a game and get behind a team because that's what's fun about sports. That's what's fun about watching sports.
Hold on. Towel Tag is commented. The hockey season is over to me. That's why I'm watching. Craig, we will definitely. You can adopt the Bruins, Craig. We are definitely.
Is it the draft tonight?
And no, they announced. I think is the draft tonight,
or is the orders tonight?
The orders tonight. They picked the order tonight. The Stars, I think, are the Sharks have the first pick. But Craig, you are more than welcome to coming over to the dark side and hang out with the Bruins for the rest of the playoffs. I am sorry that we bounced your Maple Leafs out. I still love you though, Craig. I still do love you.
Craig, I'm a Devils fan. We've been out. We just had a bad season. Hopefully, we bounce back. So all I care about now is that the Rangers don't win. That's all I care about right now.
So, but no, I think the idea that Liv needs that buy-in for their teams, and going back to this idea of you can have regional. So, you look at Cam Smith's team, and all of them are from Australia. So, do you make the Liv Adelaide event the Rippers home team, and you call them the Adelaide Rippers, and you add that what I feel like has been missing from the beginning in that just the Rippers, like you call them the Adelaide Rippers. Okay, could we maybe even redesign some names and have them tie back to the area or something like that?
That would be, I think, an amazing concept. And this is where I think Liv could thrive in a sense of be a team event, get that fan base behind you in that way, be different from the PGA Tour. Don't try to be better than the PGA Tour. Be different. Right. And you know what? I'll be honest. I would watch and I would enjoy Liv if it was a team-specific event and I'm watching it the same way I kind of watch the Ryder Cup and the President's Cup. Like, that's how I'd kind of want to enjoy this.
Comment from Instagram from Let's Golf Girls. That's how non-golf folk would buy in. And
100%.
100%. You could get that buy-in. Like, do you think everybody in New England that goes to a Red Sox game and goes to Fenway is a Red Sox fan? No. Like, but they know that they are going to get bought in and they'll end up at Fenway and buy some merch, or they'll go to, the Yankee fans will go to Yankee Stadium because of the Yankees. And they'll do that. Hey, Scott Mixon, by the way, what's up, brother? But
you hit mute and that.
No, I hit my mic.
Welcome in, Dave.
Welcome, Dave.
And look, I think they work.
For right now. We'll see. But I feel like that is something that could really help get some more buy-in and get some more fan support at that point.
I think it brings people into the game. And we talk about growing the game. You're going to bring people into this game and talk about what this sport is. They're going to get behind their city. because
Yep.
they might not know the players that are on there. And then you know what? It would be a fun thing to now, you know what? You can have trades, you can trade players, you can have a draft, you can do a whole bunch of stuff with it if you make it a specifically team event.
But here's the other thing. Like, and we talked this last week where the live proponents are, the team game is a side game. But in the last week, they've talked about getting home course advantage. They've talked about it's now the EPL, and there's a transfer window that's open.
Lean into the skid. Take the team event. Go with that.
Go with it. Yeah, go with it.
You want to make,
and I got no problem with it, but just make, again, Dave, you said this last week. They need to decide what they are. You know, like, until Liv decides what they are, we're still living in limbo. So now, we also talked last week and teased. Dave, can you hear us?
Yeah.
They're not. Oh, okay. I was making sure. I think they were working. We also talked about.
You looked confused there for a second, Dave.
What would
I'm always confused. Have you guys met me?
There's that. We hinted at the idea about the PGA Tour and team events and doing some different things under the new for-profit entity. And we talked about that last week and what that would look like in the new schedule going forward. So I went through and pulled out the PGA Tour schedule this year and said, what would it look like if we did a once-a-month team series? And then culminated that maybe the week after the Tour Championship with a team championship. And you get, I don't know, you have a FedEx Cup style team tournament throughout the year where you have 2-man teams, 3-man teams, 4-man teams throughout the year at different events. But you only have, like New Orleans, you have a team event. And that's part of the team event. So I went by once a month. Now, I skipped January for a reason. And I couldn't decide if we should do it. Well, no, I mean, if you go American Express or Torrey Pines, which one do you do it at? But I also thought kicking off the team event would be much better if we did it at, say, I don't know, Phoenix, which would be the greatest place for a team event. So do that at Phoenix as a team event. And then move on and do Valspar. Because I think you have to either do Valspar or the Cognizant. The Cognizant still falls in February, so I thought let's move it into March and have it there. And then when you go to April, you already have the Zurich in April, so the Zurich's taken care of for April. In May, I love the idea of the Charles Schwab Challenge at Colonial. And then in June, where was it?
Travelers?
No, Travelers is already an elevated event.
Rocket Mortgage?
So
in Detroit?
Because you're not going to do it at Muirfield.
No. You know where I actually had? And no, I had the 3M. Rocket makes sense, but I also thought about Canada.
Yeah,
at
but
the
you're
RBC.
You're not going to take away their Open, the Canadian Open. You're not going to take away their Open championship.
That's
Yeah.
true. Fair. So, okay, then let's do the Rocket.
Detroit it is.
Detroit it is.
Yeah.
And then you have the end of the year team championship the week after the Tour Championship. And whoever the sponsor is, you make it the race for the, I don't know, the Golfing Dad's Tavern Cup. I don't know. Like, it has a good ring to it. I don't know.
The leftover cheerleader trophy and the Disney Lost and Found.
There you go.
There you go. There's an idea. But that's kind of the idea of you know, the events, because obviously you want to leave the signature events where they are. You want to add more and make them, I mean, do you want to leave them 4 days, make them 3 days, whatever, and maybe even change the format up?
I think you do a 3-day event and you change the format each day. You kind of do a Ryder Cup style, like and you get points based on how well you play against a different team and get points based on that each day. So you might play team A one day and team B the second day.
Craig, by the way, said Canada rules. So I was trying to get Canada some love there.
No, but I think,
It's a round robin blind draw followed by a 3-legged man sack race on alternating Tuesdays.
I mean,
here's the thing. I think that, but I also like the idea that we talked with Liv here. If you're going to make these teams and you have the event schedule, keep those as your home courses, and those are your team towns. Like, find out a way to kind of do something about that.
Much like they're doing in the TGL.
Yeah, I think that because you can do that kind of same thing. And I think that having, to what you said earlier, Steve, you're going to create that, like, everyone in Detroit is going to love a Detroit team. I mean, the guys we had on last week talked about.
And they're from Chicago, and he's still a Detroit team.
Exactly. So you're going to have that, like, homer basis. That would be awesome. And it's going to bring in people that might not have been into golf, might get into it, and then get into playing the game. Like,
correct.
Because most people that watch golf and watch the PGA Tour played golf and then started watching it. Like, but I think if you add that team aspect, and I think TGL could do this too.
Yep.
It might do the opposite. It might now bring people to, like, Top Golf and bring people to start learning more about the game.
I think TGL is going to bring, and I'll use my son Jackson in as the idea of, because he hates the game of golf. He has no interest in it. His ADHD, he likes the video games, and all those video game kids, I think, will fall in love with TGL. I really do. Yeah. So I think that's going to bring that in. Again, going back to what we talked about with Liv, could the lack of home venue and hometown be what's missing from a buy-in perspective?
I do.
Is that the only thing that's missing?
Well, no, I think it's a great selling point, and I think it's a way of, like, let's look outside the box, and you want to make this better, have that home buy-in, and look at what they talked about on Liv the last few weeks when they were in Australia. Like, they are craving golf there, and if you pick these towns and you get that there, Liv has that world, like, it's almost like
Here's my question though. Here's my question about Australia. Did they go and roast Patrick Reed down there at the Liv events like they did when he was on the Ryder Cup team? That's all I want to know, because I didn't watch. I hope so too.
Orange County National, home of the High Flyers.
I go back to. I was thinking about this on my ride home today, and I feel like when you go to Liv, like right now, like there are people out there, and I get it. You're fans of Liv. That's great. Be fans of Liv. But I feel anyone that was like, they were on the PGA Tour and they're on Liv now, I don't follow them. I don't know how they're doing. I don't care how they're doing on there. And I even follow Liv and stuff on social media, and I even joined that Liv X thing, and I still don't get that information as much as I do from the PGA Tour. And much like I do more and look into it with the PGA Tour, but I feel like they went there and they've gotten forgotten about.
Yep.
And I hate that, because there are some great golfers there that I'd love to see back.
Yep. Well, hey, let's I'm excited about happy hour today. We got a really cool story joining us on happy hour. So let's bring the coach in. Let's bring the coach in and let's have some conversation here.
Right.
Okay. What's up, Bradley? So tonight on the show, we are in the midst of U.S. Open qualifying season, and people trying to qualify for the longest day in golf. And a friend of mine that I've gotten to know, and we'll get into that a little bit here, did that today, actually. So we're going to bring him on, and we're going to talk about not only that, but what he does, because he's also in this crazy world that we love called golf. Let's welcome the one and only Coach Dalton Deardorff to the stage. Dalton, what's up, brother?
Guys, I hope you can hear me. I'm on the road on my way back from local qualifying, so I hope you can hear me.
Well, we're just glad to have you here. So first off, I saw your post, and we're going to get into that. But I want to go kind of what you do now, and then we'll get into what you did today, if that sounds good to you.
100%, man. Happy to be here.
So first off, thanks for joining. Welcome to the Tavern. And you and I have known each other now a couple years. We met at the 2022 PGA show, if I remember correctly, the scaled down version of the PGA show that we were all at. But I want to start. You are part of the Wonderful Walks and Golf podcast. So I want to start. Can you just tell us what that is and what you do with that?
Yeah, that's been a lot of fun, and we went through some like rebrand and stuff like that. I think when we first met, we were Enjoy the Walk.
Yep.
Learned a good business 101 lesson there. We were treading on some toes of True Links, so we rebranded, which was great. Which was great for us. We try our best now to kind of zone in on our Delmarva area, New Jersey and Pennsylvania, and just tell really good stories of the folks in the golf industry within our region and within our larger area. And we've kind of stepped out of our comfort zone and done a little bit of documentary work on some smaller family-run golf courses too, which we think are wonderful walks in golf. So we're hopefully doing a little bit more of that here over the summer, which we'll get to cover some more exciting golf courses in our area.
Well, you talked about New Jersey and Pennsylvania. I'm a New Jersey boy that went to school in Pennsylvania, and Dave's born and raised in PA. So
well, I love it. I'm a Gettysburg
we know a lot of those
native
areas
myself.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. And I have a lot of friends in your neck of the woods in Maryland. I went down to school in Southern Virginia at Radford.
Oh, right on. You're not too far away then.
No. Nope. So, but let's talking about that. Being in Maryland, you're the men's and women's golf coach there at Salisbury University, and I understand that program's just restarted back up. And how did that come about, and how cool is that for you as now a collegiate coach?
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting. Myself, the athletics program, Salisbury University as a whole is just like super stoked to have this program get up and running again. We had a team back in the late 70s, early 80s, and I don't know, for whatever reason, it kind of bit the dust and wasn't really brought back until this coming year. So I threw my hat in the mix back in August to hopefully be the head coach, and was honored to get the position. So we'll have both a men's and women's program starting up in the fall. And I'm just over the moon to be back in golf in a coaching atmosphere, and I just can't wait to have the kids on campus. That's when the real fun starts.
How does recruiting look like for you for a brand new startup program?
Yeah, lots of emails, lots of phone calls. My first day as the job scripted on November 1st was actually Maryland State's high school public school championship. So I told my AD, I said, "Hi, nice to see you. I got to go recruit." So we went up the road to College Park, Maryland, and spent the day out there getting to know families, getting to know both men and women of not only this year's class but next year's class as well. It's not just a 1-year thing to get a program off the ground. So we're already recruiting 2025 and into 2026. So it's a never-ending cycle, but it's a lot of fun.
So Dalton, you're a D3 school out in Maryland, and this is going to be your first year with this program. How are you feeling getting ready for the season? Like you just talked about recruiting and doing all of that. How do you feel about what your team's going to look like in this first season? Well, your teams, actually. You got both.
I was just going to say that. I think it's very unique because I've got both. The men's side, I've got just about a full roster, and I'm really excited. We've got a lot of talented guys coming in. We've got a few guys from Maryland. We've got a few guys from New York. We've actually got a gentleman that is transferring in from a junior college out in Michigan. And we've got a true freshman coming in from Canada as well. So I did my best during the recruiting process to reach out to each and every contact that I've made in the golf industry over the past, 4 or 5 years of having the podcast and just kind of doing what I've done on the media side. And, that got me a few recruits that way, just a friend of a friend knowing a guy. But we're going to be very competitive, I think, out of the gate, which I'm super excited about on the men's side. And then the women's team is going to be a little bit of a building year. I think just numbers wise at the D3 level, it's a little more difficult to build that women's team up. Especially I kind of got a late start starting in November. So, but we're already recruiting a really large class for 2025 for the women. So watch out for those ladies come 2025. We're going to be a force to be reckoned with, I think, on both sides.
Nice.
Now, I want to talk about something that I followed. I know a lot of people have followed you on social media with this challenge that you've done. And today was at day 142 of your 142-day challenge to go back to try and qualify for the U.S. Open. And I know I saw the video, so I know that you did not qualify today.
Spoilers, Steve.
I know. But,
you gotta let people know.
But so how did you play, and what made you? I mean, the idea of the journey and things like that. How did you play? Let's start with that, and then we'll go into the idea of the journey.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll take you through today. 3 bad swings today off the tee were really kind of the difference between me being in the mix. I putted my butt off. It seems like a lot of my putts made from 15 feet were for par. I spent a little bit of time on the front 9 kind of chipping out of trees, which is never where you want to be, trying to shoot 1 or 2 under. 1 under was an alternate today, 2 under got in. Low was 3 under. So I knew the course was playing long and hard, so it was just a matter of let's get it under par. Just couldn't quite do it today. Got myself behind the 8 ball and was 3 over after 9. So was just kind of fighting my way back the whole back 9. But we played well. I took a ton of positives out of it. Just unfortunately, a lot of tee shots off the front 9 that just went snappy hooky.
I'm gonna say this because if I go back in my text exchange with you, there was a while back where you, I think, snapped a putter and you were done with your putter and you were struggling with the putter. So I am really happy to hear that you rolled it great today. So just go back to that text exchange and congrats on that.
We had a little jingle within my group, and I think I need to contact Lab for my commission on the 2 playing partners that are going to go buy a Lab after my day. But I switched to the Lab DF3, and about the 5th hole, I had made another 15-footer. It was like my 3rd in a row. So it was just, they called me Lab City the rest of the day. Lab City. You can fill in the rest.
That's a lot better than some of the things Steve has been called on the golf course.
That's true.
Dalton, where'd you play today?
We played out at Running Deer Golf Club. It's in Pittsgrove, New Jersey. Kind of like God's country out there.
Yeah, I know where it
is. Yeah. Okay. So Dalton, like somebody else on this show that's right above me, I think you got the letter from the USGA about a previous performance in the past. What made you start this journey and do it all over again?
Yeah, it's really funny. Not so far in the past, actually. Last year, I shot 88 in the local qualifier. Absolutely just abysmal day. Everything that you could think of that went wrong. And my head wasn't in the game last year at this time. So I was kind of forcing it to begin with. So yeah, I got the letter, under performance review, please submit further scoring to prove that, you're not a hack, basically.
I think somebody in this group would have taken an 88. He would have taken an 88 all day.
I did get that letter. Yep, I did. It's all right, though.
Yeah. That letter's a rite of passage, right? Like to prove that you're not insane, but maybe you are insane.
Yeah.
Why go through it again?
Getting this job changed a lot of my perspective on it. When I got offered the job, my initial perspective on it was, how do I prove to the recruits coming in that, A, I'm not a hack and I know what I'm doing, because I'm not a PGA guy. I've never been a head coach anywhere else before. So my big thing was, if I can put a plan together of daily workouts, daily golf drills, daily, a regimented daily plan to follow, that would be awesome. But what am I working towards? Because these college kids will have tournaments to work towards, but at the time it was November. So what do I work towards? So initially I was talking with a buddy of mine, Dante, who caddied for me today. And he's like, well, the open qualifiers at my home club. And it just went off like a lightning bolt in my mind. I was like, that's it. We'll try and qualify for the U.S. Open, and we'll create a plan. So I sat down, and my ADHD came to my favor, and I zoned in, and I created a 142-day plan to follow, basically from November right out until today.
because it's not easy to play golf up north that way in November and December.
No, there were very few rounds actually. This winter was it wasn't tons of snow, but it was tons of rain and wind and cold. And I spent a ton of time on a TrackMan indoors.
So what made you decide to take this 142-day challenge and not only just like it, you put a plan together, but you put yourself out there on social media and made this posting all the time? And we all know we do podcasts, we do all this stuff. Keeping up with that is a full-time job sometimes in itself. So what inspired you to kind of do that as well?
Yeah, I think it goes back to just accountability for one. Like, I knew if I would post and get through like 20 days of it, you'd start to have that buddy of yours. It's like, oh, okay, what are you doing? Where's day 21? Where's day 22? That was a big part of it initially to kind of keep me through the first couple weeks. But then as I started looking back on it, I'm like, I'm documenting this. And if, anything about the 15, 16, 17-year-olds that are all in my recruiting classes, they exclusively use social media now. They're on it 24/7. So for me, as I was like looking around the coaching world, if there wasn't this like stiff video on a website for an athletics page of what their golf program is, and it was like, hi, I'm the coach for so-and-so, and this is what I do. You don't get to know a coach very well until you take the trip on campus. So another big reason I felt like I wanted to kind of continue to put myself out there daily was that so any of these kids that are coming in can kind of easily find me on social media. For better or for worse, I try my best to post, content that's not damning. But to put it out there and say, well, shoot, this coach is holding himself accountable. He's working towards a pretty big goal. Maybe I'd want to go play for him. And maybe they don't, but at least they know who I am and how I operate.
Nice.
Now, you kind of talked about this, and you go back 142 days. That puts us mid-December. And obviously up north, and you talked about TrackMan. Besides hitting golf balls on a TrackMan and getting your numbers ready and things like that, what was your workout regimen and things like that, like to keep your stamina up and all of that, especially during the winter months?
Yeah, it was initially all just written by me. I kind of took it upon myself based on things I was doing in the past, things that have worked. A lot of it was like, 2 to 3 miles every other day, and then hopefully 10 miles a week of either walking or like walking in an incline combined with some deadlifts and just some really basic stuff. And then about 40 days into my plan, I was really lucky to link up through a mutual friend of mine who coaches down at Kaiser University in Florida with the company Perfect Hands Golf. They work with a really, really great set of personal coaches and personal fitness guys at Streak Performance, Alex Keller and Cody Kirkendall. They basically took me under their wing and were like, listen, we saw what you're doing. We love how you're working hard, but you're not really doing the right stuff to get golf ready. Like, let us help you. So those guys stepped in and have been basically with me since like day 40, working through Streak Performance and bandit drills and just working on speed. And I've never felt better on the golf course, and it's really all thanks to those guys, because I think I would have really spun my tires when it came to the fitness side of things, because I was kind of only doing the basics.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, that's awesome. And that Perfect Hands, I know if you guys use that Perfect Hands, and they all swear by that thing.
I tell you what, man, that thing, I don't even so much use it for speed. It's helped me get speed. But the settings on it to help you just get to a really great position at the top of the swing has been where I've really felt the big difference. My takeaway in my backswing has gone night and day after using that thing. So no free ads, but free ads.
We're all about shameless plugs here on this show.
It's all good.
Yeah. So switch. I'm gonna backtrack a little bit into this conversation here. After you tried, you shot that 88. You got that letter. What did you learn from that, and what did you take into this round from your previous experience going into the qualifier this time?
It's just it's so it's so simple, and we all make it seem to be like it's something, that's like magic. But that 88, I put almost no effort into it. I was playing on like a weekend, every other weekend for a month or something like that. So I just wasn't playing. I wasn't practicing. I was relying on I've played in plenty of these qualifiers before. I can go in and just, maybe I'll have the round of a lifetime. Who knows? And that's just such a naive way to approach those qualifiers. And then this time around, you look back on the work you've done over 142 days, and then even then some in a row. Um, the comfort level on the first tee is just night and day. Like, what you've done, what you've prepared for, and you can kind of go into it. Not to say I didn't take an extra three deep breaths on the first tee of a U.S. Open local, because I was still nervous. But there's a lot more comfort level, and just knowing the work you put in can go a long way in a tournament round.
So speaking about those tournament rounds and everything, now you're going to be a college coach, and you just went through this 142-day process. You just literally got off the course and are talking to us about going through playing in this tournament. So, what's going to be your message to your team now to help them prepare when they're getting ready for their first tournament?
Yeah, I think, it started now. We started already. I've got 11 guys coming in that have committed to the men's program specifically. I've got 4 that are committed to the women's, and we're working on getting 6 by the end of this month. They're already in our strength and conditioning program. May 1st, we were allowed to start with the NCAA, sending them our strength and conditioning program. And it's just, I want them to check in with me weekly now. And I want them to check in with me, 4 days a week when they're with me on campus, to kind of make sure we're sticking to our plan and just trust the daily process. It's not going to happen overnight. And I think what I'm really excited about is I'm bringing in a lot of talented kids already. And I think if they spend 4 years in our program with our strength and conditioning staff and with me as a head coach, we're going to be producing some really, really high level golfers. And especially on the men's side, I've got 2 or 3 guys that have kind of voiced that they want to go chase this game professionally after college. And they're just not quite there yet. But I think by the time they're done 4 years at Salisbury, you see more and more D3 golfers, going to the PGA Tour Americas or the Canadian Tour after they're done their 4 years. So D3 can still be a great avenue to go chase it professionally. And I hope, we can build a program at Salisbury that gives kids the opportunity to do that.
That's awesome. So let me ask you this, as a coach, as a leader to these kids as they're coming in, you and I are one of thousands of people that have gotten that letter. And to go back and get back on the horse, what message are you telling these kids that, from an adversity standpoint and fighting through, and what message are you telling these kids, getting that letter to go into what you did today?
Yeah, I think, like, first and foremost, let it hurt, because it hurt. Getting that message, like, you initially think like, wow, I can't play in this event that I initially knew I was going to play. And that kind of hurt, because I was halfway through the plan when I got that letter. So, like, I had already put in 60, 70 days when I got the letter of like, oh, you can't play in the qualifier. go pound sand,
Yep.
So I think I used that as a little bit of a vendetta for like the last half of the plan. So I love any kind of fuel to the fire that you can add of like, well, they don't think I'm good enough. Like, let me show them otherwise. I think any kind of fuel like that you can get through on the days that you don't want to wake up, or that you wake up so sore that you don't want to go into the gym, or you don't want to go pound balls for a couple hours. It's like, remember the people, or remember the times that somebody said you weren't good enough, and prove them wrong. Like, you got to have that fuel in the fire, or you're not gonna. That kind of fuel gets you over the days where you don't want to go practice or you don't want to go play. And I know everyone has had that scenario. Somebody in their lives has told them that. So you gotta dig a little deep and find that, and get through the days that suck, because there's gonna be days that suck. But then those days build the days that really feel good.
Nice.
So Dalton, we know you've had a long day, and we've kept you a little bit longer here. Congrats on that 142-day challenge. Thanks for sharing everything with us. I'm a big Phillies fan. Yesterday's game, Mason Black was the pitcher for the Giants. He's a Lehigh University grad. They had all the Lehigh coaches there. I hope one day, as your players are going through this process, that you're going to be standing on the ropes of a PGA event, watching one of them, whether they win or not, but just, walking that course. And congrats on getting that program up and going, and best of luck to you.
Nah, it means a lot. I appreciate it. Yeah, that's the dream goal every coach wants, right? To be sitting there at a Sunday of a tour event, whether it's the Corn Ferry or Canadian or whatever it may be, saying, "Man, that's kid came through my program." That's the mecca.
Hey, say hi to Dante for me too.
Absolutely, I have to
and tell him that mustache is awful.
I have to. Well, I was gonna say I'll be the bearer of good news then. His fiance absolutely despised the mustache, so he used some cheap razors in the men's locker room at Running Deer, and the mustache no longer lives on.
Oh, well, good.
Yeah. So you're welcome. You're welcome back on the Tavern. You're welcome back on the Tavern anytime, Coach.
Awesome, guys. Well, much appreciated. Thanks for the time. It's good mucking it up with you Steve, as always, and you guys as well, Greg and Dave. Appreciate it.
Good luck in the season.
Later, Dalton.
All right. Cheers.
Oh man,
it's always great to have a good coach.
Interview.
I've coached. I know you two have coached on levels too, and it's so much fun when you get to inspire and see, like what you said, Dave. See the accomplishment that you helped inspire that, and what they have done there. Because everyone looks back. We all look back on our coaches. We look back on our dads who helped coach us and taught us into this sport, and they helped shape us into who we are today. And that's those coaches and father figures and parents that do all of this and put everything out there for people to go through a challenge like this. It's awesome. That's great. So if you're looking to play golf and you're looking to find a school to go to, and if you're a high schooler watching this show, why are you watching this show? You should be doing better with your life than watching this show.
Wow.
Probably because they know Bob, and Bob makes them watch the show.
But I'm glad you're watching. If you're watching, then we're doing something right.
Yeah.
But if you're looking, there's a great coach out at Salisbury University and a new golf program. That's a great way to get yourself out there right now. So cheers to Dalton.
And college golf is, any type of collegiate sports, D1, D2, D3, no matter what it is, you're playing. Enjoy it.
It's good competition. It's not like it's less competition, stuff like that. If you're playing in D3, if you're playing in D1, 2, or 3, you are playing at the highest level in the collegiate ranks. So
yeah. All right, Steve. Smack of the week. I do want to give a shout out. I played in the WAGC event this weekend at Juliet Falls. I did not no card in that event. Dave,
we didn't bring it up. There was plenty of opportunity to bring stuff up there, Steve, that we just let go.
I just left it as a score.
Mm-hmm.
A month ago, I brought the new mindset ball out there into the tournament play for the first time. And I have to say that there were 3 other players that were now playing on the WAGC tour that were now playing the mindset ball from Bridgestone. So that was fun to see. And they understand the idea of the mindset, and like we do, and what it can do to help your game. So
if you want a great video, there's a video of Tiger Woods and Jason Day and a random golfer, and it explains the mindset in I want to say a minute and a half. In a very perfect, concise thing. Go watch it on YouTube on Bridgestone Golf's YouTube page. It's nice. It'll get you thinking about changing to this golf ball.
And the smack of the week this week, when you see it from the beginning, you will know what is going to happen, but it's still funny to watch.
Gonna end well. No way you're gonna.
Buddy, I'm not taking a drop.
No way.
That
Was
is
he
the
also playing an
perfect-
orange ball?
on a red line? I saw that
on a
too,
red
yeah.
line, yeah.
It's
Yes.
that's the perfect analogy for any golfer is, you know what? I am not taking a drop. Like if I can avoid taking a drop at any, that's why people will search for way too long on a golf course. But yeah, don't take a drop.
He's taking a drop.
That's what I said earlier. He took a big drop.
Nice. All right, last call. CJ Cup at the Byron Nelson is another one of those events that I consider, do we do a team event there? And doing that to Lord Byron, who I don't know that I could to do that to Lord Byron. You know, I look back and I used to think, you know, before the whole thing with Liv started, it used to always be a really cool story when a first-time winner wins on the PGA Tour and someone who had struggled and gone back and forth between the Tour and the Korn Ferry Tour. And now the Liv proponents, every time a first-time winner, oh, who's that? Who won? What's their name? Who's that? They're not one of the big names. And that is very frustrating to me because the talent level is so deep on the PGA Tour. Taylor Pendrith
was 23 under.
Right.
Like, come on. You got game
And
at that point.
Here's the thing. I'm going to point this out. He tied for 9th, but Rafael Campos, again, a name we all don't know, but they talked about him. If he finished in the top 5, it got him the automatic invite to Wells Fargo. You know, here's guys that are not just for, the win, but he needed he finished tied 9th at 18 under. He needed 2 more birdies, and it would have been an automatic qualifier for him for next week for Wells Fargo.
So that's a perfect point, Dave, is that these players are out there giving it their all, and this is what we enjoy about this. Liv took that away on their end of just paying you whatever the hell you want, so it doesn't matter how well you play that week.
Yep.
Like, that's the problem with Liv too, is people are playing on this tour to play golf for the passion of golf.
Yeah.
Here's the other way you can look at that, and I understand this idea because when you look at the amount of money that other professional athletes make because of the money that they get made because of collective bargaining agreements and things like that. Golf and tennis per se are the only 2 sports where this happens, and you don't have that guaranteed money. And Greg Norman is trying to run golf like every other business. The problem is you don't have the revenue stream outside of the financial backing of the PIF to run golf like you run the Los Angeles Lakers and pay LeBron James.
Well, and to your point there, this is where I think Liv should lean into that team event. Pay them like it's a team thing. Pay them like it's like that. Like, give them a salary, and then they go play just to win, and then let Liv be Liv, and let the PGA be where people are fighting.
Like, and for the everyman golfer out there, I saw a video this weekend from Instagram. A guy. I don't think he was going through a qualifier, but it was, something just like Dalton did, cost of the round, $500, trip there, gas, hotel, practice round, scorecard, yardage book, he's out $1,200, just trying to play in a qualifier, just to make the dream alive. Some of these guys, even ones with tour cards, you don't make that cut. Not everybody is Scotty Scheffler or Rory McIlroy or Shane Lowry that are getting everything paid for going through there. A lot of these guys, $33,000 at a top 40 is a huge payday for them because it covers their expenses.
But at one point, Scotty Scheffler wasn't Scotty Scheffler. Like Rory
also true.
Rory was an entirely different story. Like Rory was a phenom like Tiger was.
Look at Brooks Koepka, like what he did, but when he was winning those PGA like he went from tour to tour to tour and just worked on his game and grinded out there. And that's what I loved about that.
He played in front of me in the pre-qual at Honda before he was Brooks Koepka. And the first hole there was a par 5, and they moved the tees up to the ladies' tees, and they played it as a par 4. And nobody knew this. They didn't mark that hole for the practice round. And we get out there, and the tees moved up, and I'm like, I didn't even hit a tee shot from up there in a practice round. And I'm like, well, it's 3-wood. Just hit it down left of the bunker, and I'll be fine. And we got to the tee as Koepka was teeing off, and he literally, it was a dogleg right. There were condos down the right-hand side and tall palm trees in between the tee box and the condo. He hit driver straight up in the air and flew it over the corner with the driver over the palm trees and had like wedge in. I had 4 hybrid in. It's an entirely different game for those guys. Like it was stupid to watch.
Yeah.
I was like, and I looked and I was like, that's why he's Brooks Koepka. And because it's a different game. It's a different game. It's a different mindset for those guys.
It's amazing, but that's what makes these stories so great is that people are out there trying. Like the difference between all these golfers is it comes down to putting and chipping. Like they'll all tell you that, but they're out there grinding. They're doing it. I mean, even Dalton talked about this today. Like he had some he was 3 over, but then his putter got hot and he was getting back into the swing of things throughout the round. Like that's what we love about this game is that there are these stories that are out there. And I hate when Liv is trying to take that away and just make it about professionals and stuff like that, because you don't have this in other sports. Like we talk about you root for sports teams and stuff like that, which is great. I love rooting for sports teams, but these individual stories are unbelievable.
Correct.
What was it? It was Troy Merritt this weekend that said, my wife has all these family plans in January or in June for us to take these trips. I'd really love to throw a monkey wrench into all that by going out and winning. And he finished 18 under. He had a legitimate shot at winning, but you're taking into, my wife already made plans for June family vacations. I'm trying to throw a wrench into that by going out and winning this tournament.
I mean, I'm not picking him, but that's not a bad reason to pick a dude.
No.
But yeah, no, I'm happy for Taylor Pendrith. It's good to see him win. 2-year exemption that comes with that. And I think the idea that it shows the depth of the PGA Tour. It's not that there's bad players out there. It's that there's great players out there that can shoot 23 under. And everyone that's sitting here complaining about, oh, they're not good players, and there ain't one of them that could shoot 23 over 4 rounds. There isn't one.
All right, Dave. Let's get into next week.
Wells Fargo.
No, Scotty.
Yes.
Is this the last year that Wells Fargo is sponsoring too?
Yes, it is.
I believe so.
Yeah.
That could change too. I just think they just haven't renewed.
No, they said they were dropping their sponsorship.
Yeah, but I've heard that in other ones before, and they've changed.
We've heard that from a lot of different, a fairly full field this week. Still, no Saudi this week. He, enjoying other things right now.
Ludwig's out too, by the way.
Yep, Ludwig's out. Rory's leading the way right now at 6.5. Xander at 9. Wyndham, the defending champion, at 14. Xander's playing Buddy Patrick at 18. Max Homa at 20. And GT and Colin Morikawa rounding it out at 22-1. Victor Hovland, your FedEx champion, at 25. Tommy Fleetwood and Sahith Theegala and Cameron Young all at 25. So Steve, you had the worst week.
I made the cut and got the best week.
Wow, yes. Miracles do happen.
Yeah, Steve, you finished tied 52nd. I finished tied 41.
Okay.
So
I almost made a top 10 too.
yes, you did. So our overall standings right now is Greg at 67, me at 107, and Steve at 113.
God damn it, I'm so far behind.
Yeah, and you picked third this week.
At this point, you should just give me Scotty in every tournament he's in the rest of the year.
No.
And I probably still wouldn't catch up.
All of a sudden, Scotty.
No, because No, I said JT, not GT.
You know, this
Roll the
golf
tape
course
back.
is a great golf course. It produces great champions.
Yep.
Obviously, it's hosted majors. It's hosted President's Cup. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say that it's an elevated event. Scotty Scheffler is not playing, so I'm going to take the guy that finishes runner-up to Scotty Scheffler in every elevated event this year, and I'm going to take Wyndham Clark.
He's going back to back. He's going back to back. All right.
Yes, I'm taking Wyndham.
Dave?
Just go ahead and say it. Brad can make this pick for you. It's Rory. It's really easy. It's Rory. Okay, we all know it. It's Dave picking, and Rory's available in an elevated event. He's the favorite.
Is Ricky playing?
I gotta take Rory. I haven't done it this year.
Brad. Thank you, Brad.
So, Dave, if you didn't pick him out,
it was between Rory and JT. It really was for me. It's between Rory and JT. So I'm going Rory. I haven't picked him yet this year. So
if you didn't take him, I was taking him. I'll be honest with you. I was gonna take
What? Hold on. Sorry, my bad.
I was like, why did you just jump us all out of there? So yeah, if you weren't taking him, Dave, I was taking him there. So I was between two people, and I am gonna go with Xander. I'm gonna go with Schauffele.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
So right now, Xander, sorry if you missed the cut.
There isn't one this week.
I know, but somehow I'll have him miss a cut. Like they'll be like, "Oh, you're at the bottom." So
he'll get kneecapped by somebody and have to withdraw.
Tanya Harding, what?
Yeah.
All right, guys.
So, all right, guys.
Hey, fun week this week, guys.
Yep.
Enjoy Wells Fargo.
Enjoy. Thank you, Dalton, for coming on
next
today
week.
After a long day.
Next week, PGA Championship preview next week.
Yes. No.
Just south of me. No, not next week. The week after, isn't it? Is it next week?
Week after. It's Myrtle Beach next week.
No, Myrtle Beach is also this week.
Myrtle Beach is also this week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, then I can delete that one.
Yeah, Myrtle Beach is alongside this week. So yeah, next week is the PGA. So
yeah.
All right.
Oh, see, that's what I get for just inputting things.
Thanks, everybody.
Cheers, y'all.
Deuces.
Tip your bartender.
Really fortunate, man. Having the opportunity to build something that's
viral on our TikTok. That somebody was commenting about playing Whistling Straits for 700